Hello guys, in this video I want to talk about these two flies, obviously ants. Well, this one can be a terrestrial more, but let's call them ants. So I want to show you why I think that those two flies can actually help me solve a problem. So let's get into it. So the problem I have is that fish that I'm fishing for are quite easily spooked, so even the tippet in the air near them will spook them. Then too big fly will spook them. Too thick tippet will spook them. Tippet that's on the surface of the water will spook them. So many things. My movements obviously will spook them. So I'll try to target those problems and solve them with those flies. How I intend to solve that? It's quite easy, frankly. So first one is, let me move this fly hook away. So you can see this bear shank over here. This is going to go underwater, hopefully. And I saw this trick from Kelly Gallup, and recently Gordon van der Spey inspired me with his flies tied on jig hooks, but this is dry fly, so I prefer lighter hook here. And especially because this fly is supposed to hold wet fly or nymph, small nymph under it. So the hook point and a little bit of hook goes underwater, submerging the tippet. Submerged tippet is way less visible, meaning it will spook fish less. And oversized hackle will hold fly, wet fly or nymph a little bit better than properly sized or undersized hackle because of the surface tension. Then I have this wet fly that you've seen. It's quite a good representation of an ant. I mean, it has two segments, legs in between. I think every fish will eat this. Every fish that eats ants or other aquatic, well, ant is not aquatic, but yeah, other terrestrials or aquatic insects. So because I hate dropper knots, that's one other problem. I have this loop over here that will hopefully solve my problem with tags and stuff when presenting the fly. So let's get into tying. So to begin the first fly, I will use this 303 18 size Dohiko hook, and I will just create a short but kind of extreme abdomen. I like to have those abdomens of ants that are a little bit more prominent than in real ants. So I can create it all by using just this UV glue, but I like to have a kind of a plan B. So in case I just smack this fly on the rock and kind of break this UV, which never happened actually, I will still have this abdomen here. Now I'll just whip finish 1, 2, and I want to cut this without the tag being visible. The way to do it is like put some tension on your thread. This is kind of small and everything is black, so, and with the non-serrated part of the blade, press against the thread against it, and that's it. The reason why I don't like tag being visible is when you apply some UV, it's going to be kind of bumpy, and that annoys me, to be honest. Now my wife gave me this glue, UV glue in black, and it's very good stuff, and it's super cheap. Abdomen, you should usually do in 2 takes. It's easier to control and to cure, unless you have really good abdomen already done with your thread. So I want to cover all the thread here to protect it from water. Literally, you guys can see much better than I can see because it's magnified, but I think I'm doing okay job over here with this. So the reason why I'm doing this with UV is very simple. I want to be able to kind of see when this little fly splashes on the water. I usually use it on very calm waters, so I want to see that little drop, like a raindrop falling on the water, and I'll know where my fly is. And if anything moves or some water disturbance occurs, I'll set a hook, or even better, if I see the fish. So I cured it kind of a little bit here, and then I'll just cure it a little bit more after I add one little layer of this glue. So I want it even more extreme than this. And I'll just add in the middle, literally making it almost like a bowl shaped. So making this pop out. Okay. And that seems okay now. Keep it spinning so it doesn't fall on one side. And when you cure it, you can actually continue tying. After you cure this for a while, and it has to be for a while because it's a little bit thicker than most of the layers on your nymphs and other flies, obviously it sets, and you can continue tying it. Now I like to start tying from the eye of the hook, and I'm not going all the way to this kind of bead over here. I'll just cut this, and yep. I'm not going all the way to the bead because I'm not going to go near it with thread, no need. I'll just attach the feather here. I'll pull the rachis out a little bit, so I start with a bare rachis, cinch on a rachis, and that's it. What I'm attempting here is I don't want to have legs at the head because no ants have it. I'm just testing this theory. I don't think it will make too much difference, but yeah, let's try. And I want maximum of 2 wraps. So this is going to be 1, and this is going to be 2. So I started at the kind of top, and yeah, just go here, just let it go along the shank, because I don't need more wraps over here. I'll just cut all this down and cover it, and because I want another head over here, I'll just create it. So I'm having those segments like a real ant, kind of, because when the fly is underwater, it's kind of more visible to the fish. Like the fish can observe it a little bit more. That's what I think. And yeah, that's it. I'll just push those barbs a little bit to the back. I don't want them actually going too much, just a little bit. And then I'll add some more glue and finish off the fly. That's it. That's the final touch for this. And I already have slightly heavier fly than it would be just by adding thread. And it's probably slightly durable if you're fishing for trout, because it's very unlikely that trout's teeth are going to destroy the UV glue. Now you can notice that I'm holding my left hand on the vise, and I'm leaning with my other hand onto this hand, so I have more control over what I'm doing here. I'm trying to go with this glue all the way, almost touching the hackle, but yeah. And that's it. Now after a couple of spins, I'll just put it in this hand UV thing for UV light for nails, and that's it. Finished fly. As you can see, it has nice segments, legs in between. I don't think that this can go wrong with this fly. So I just need something to see, meaning the dropper fly that is going to hold this fly kind of suspended. My indicator that can also catch fish. So that's my solution to the problem. 2 terrestrials catching fish, hopefully. So the other fly I'm going to tie is TMCO, used on hook TMCO 108 SPBL and size 16. So again, it's relatively small hook because smaller hooks, smaller flies in general, I think spook fish less. That's just my way of thinking. Not sure if it works or not. Oops, I'm not sure if it's 100% sure, but I think it is. Now I'll start this one with another thread, Semperfli GSP in 12/0. And I'll start it right about here, covering the body, making some base layer for the nylon, well, tippet. And tippet I'm using is this fluorocarbon. And these are Chinese measures, but you can see the millimeters here, 0.37, so quite thick. I'm gonna pinch this down with my teeth. So I will use this one here, and then I'll have some round part here, and then a loop, and then what I need is again flat. So I'll just fold it, kind of measure if everything is working nice. Yep, exactly as I want it. I'll cut it. Now I have 2 ends pinched with my teeth, and here this is my base layer. I'll go all the way slightly into the bend, coming back over. Okay, I'll put it on the side. Because by putting it on the side, I'm actually making this profile wider, and when I put foam on the top, it will sit without rotating. Now I'll just fold this one here, and I already have enough room. Okay, I can actually run back and make sure that this sits where I want it. So these parts I don't need. Okay. Now I'll use a whip finishing tool to kind of direct this where I want it. Okay. Doesn't have to be straight on the top, but I would like it to be. But working with round materials is a little bit trickier, so I'll just... Okay, it's all on the top instead of the sides. It's a bit too thick for what I want. And yeah, it's very well secured. Now I have another eye, as you can see here, and yeah, that's it. But it's still wide and it will hold foam well. Now the foam is kind of 1 gap wide, a little bit more than that, but yeah, it's fine. 1 wrap and then pull up, 1 more wrap just to keep it there, again 1 more wrap to keep it there. And because this is GSP and it can cut through the foam, try to use the flat thread. So I'm not making segments here, I'm actually trying to keep everything more buoyant. Okay, yeah, now I'll just put it back, and that's it. Yeah. I still have this little tag that will make my dropper fly easier to mount. And now, because I was not pulling on the foam, I don't want to squeeze those bubbles out. At this moment I can pull on my foam to make this tie of point a little bit more narrow, and now just pull your thread and a little bit stronger, cut the foam, because this is GSP, it cuts through the foam easily. That's it. Now here you can add some super glue if you want, but yeah, we have nice well secured abdomen even without super glue. I don't want this super thick, but it's still on the thick side. I'll just remove a couple of those fibers, maybe a couple of more, but more you have here, the more rigid it's going to be. So I'll just fold it, double it, go one in front, one to the back, make it tight, and then again to the front, and then around, and kind of find what works best for you. But the goal here is to make it very rigid, very well secured, and yeah, that's it. And when you go up the post, try to go with flat thread. I'll just flatten it a little bit, so you can go without even holding it with your left hand. It's here, and from time to time you just need to pull in opposite directions the parachute post and the thread and tighten it up very nicely and very firmly. Now you need flat post, like smooth post, because when you wrap your hackle it's going to make your life easier here. And make it a little bit longer, because the abdomen here is going to give you some trouble. I'm flattening thread by counter spinning the bobbin holder. 1, 2, 3, just 4 wraps down, and yeah, that's it. Now attach this whitening hackle, which is oversized for the size of the hook, as you can see, because I want more surface tension. And when you look, this is shiny side, so shiny side is away from me. The right side of the feather, I'll strip a couple of barbs more than the left side of the feather, and you can see it here. The reason for that is when I start wrapping, I want shiny side down. This bare rachis is going to go on directly on the post. So let me show you that. Okay, I'm trying to keep the rachis shiny side towards me, and then again flat thread. Okay, actually the feather, because let me explain you something. You have to finish those wraps a little bit, like 1 wrap shy from the top of the previous wrap, and I will show you why. The feather, the shiny side is facing this way, because I'll fold it this way and start wrapping, or it can face towards you. Both ways works. But if the dull side faces you, then all those barbs will cup down, and I want them to cup up. That's just my preference here. Dubbing is here to cover up for this white part, but you can also use marker for that purpose and save yourself 1 step. I like this dubbing, it's nice, and I'll use just a tiny little amount just to cover the thread. That's it. I don't want any fibers of the dubbing sticking too much away from the thread, so relatively tight noodle is here the goal. and it's very short, maybe because most of my audience is American, so I should say it in imperial. I think this is almost an inch, but I'm not good with those imperial measures. And finish your thread behind the post. Tilt the fly, it makes your life easier here, and the first wrap goes exactly in that space that you left. So you finished one layer very high, and the second layer when you secure the hackle was one wrap shy. Now the first wrap goes in that shy area, and then every wrap goes below the previous wrap, and that's it. Try not to crowd. The abdomen here is kind of obstructing the wraps, but try not to crowd, because if you crowd wraps, it will be more difficult to secure everything here without having those barbs pointing downwards, which is annoying but kind of inevitable in this case because of this abdomen being in your way. I can also move those barbs a little bit like so, and then with just one more wrap secure everything down. Okay, all those barbs that I'm forcing up will go back down as soon as the fly hits water, if not sooner. So don't worry about this. So forcing the material into the position is not going to force it there permanently unless you break it. So couple of wraps. I'm kind of avoiding all those barbs, and I made a little mistake here. I don't want to catch those barbs. Yeah, okay. That's it. Second fly is finished. So I don't see, like, I'll see one barb down, but it's just forced there, and then I'll just push my scissors through the hackle. That's it. Now, if you read Feather Mechanic book, now you have the second part. If you read it, you will see that Gordon van der Spey, who actually inspired this fly, cuts this post downwards because he thinks this makes this surface area a little bit wider and bigger, which I have to test. But I have this part of the hook here, and that's the reason why I took it. This part of the hook will be submerged underwater with some part of the tippet, meaning this fly will be kind of less tied to a tippet according to the fish, because tippet, when it's on the surface of the water, is like super visible. When it's submerged, it's way less visible. So I think that all those fish that I'm kind of missing, well, they're like avoiding my fly. They're actually spooked by tippet, by my presence, by so many things. So I have to cut those things down and try to catch those fish. This is bottom view. You can see it's kind of oversized hackle, but I need more of that surface tension to hold the hook. So guys, I hope you like those flies. I know it's a lengthy video, but yeah, thank you very much and see you next week.